Welcome to Meditation Mount and to Signs of Hope. We're delighted that you're able to join us for this series of monthly conversations with pioneers serving the common good and who are actively sowing seeds of a better world at every opportunity. As we look around, it's really obvious that we are in a period of transition between two ages. We can see old structures and beliefs dying. If we look carefully, we can see new ones emerging. However, sometimes it's difficult to see the hope-filled shoots of new possibilities amid the disarray of a society in upheaval. The intent behind Signs of Hope is more than just naming projects around the planet that are giving birth to hope. Its deeper purpose is to create a portal through which the presence of fiery hope can enter and ignite the heart of our one humanity. So Signs of Hope is an invitation for us to act as true Gaians, to be active agents of hope wherever and whenever we find ourselves. And we're here to encourage each other to step up, to offer our unique gifts in response to the compelling call of the soul and the urgent need of the times. And before I introduce our two guests for today, I'd like for us to gather, all of us around the world, connected in virtual space, so that we may create a container in which we can have this dialogue. And we do this by simply bringing ourselves to a point of stillness, taking a few deep, gentle breaths. And then we enter the space of the heart. And there the stillness is alive with the fire of love. And we stand in that deep fire of compassion and caring. And we intentionally connect with all on this call today, heart to heart, to heart to heart, weaving together a matrix, a field of communion and community. And into this sacred space, we invoke the presence of fiery hope. So now we are connected, heart to heart. And I have great pleasure in welcoming and introducing our two guests today, Rita Marie Johnson and Yumi Kikuchi. Welcome to you both. Lovely to have you with us.
Thank you, Michael.
Aloha, Michael.
The aloha means that Yumi is speaking from Hawaii.
Yes.
I believe, Rita Marie, you're on the west coast of the United States.
Yes, I'm close to San Jose, California. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And we're, of course, located in Southern California in the Ojai Valley. I usually start this journey with one question, and we go through this portal together, and then it takes us wherever we're meant to go in order to have a useful conversation. something that can deepen our understanding of what it means to bring hope into the world. So here's the question for you both, and it's up to you who goes first, and you can add something after the other one's spoken. We're now in this free space where we're moved by spirit. However, we start with this question. What gives you hope in a world struggling to make sense of the present state of disarray and disconnect as we move through this uncertain period of transition? So I invite you to respond to that. It could be a story, whatever's on your heart, and then we'll go where spirit takes us.
Go ahead, Yumi.
So what gives me hope is, in one word, power of the heart. Power of the heart. And how to unleash that power of the heart. So I want to start from my deepest sad and moment of despair in my life. That is 2011, March 11. In Japan, there was a big earthquake. And after that earthquake, the tsunami hit, and also the 3 nuclear reactors got meltdown and exploded. I don't know if you remember that. That is the very reason I moved from Japan, where I had a wonderful life of organic farm, and I was feeding children and friends from my farm, everything organic, growing rice, vegetable, mushrooms, and I was so self-sufficient and happy life. But with that radiation coming to our way, I gathered my children and left my farm, and I went to South and then came to Hawaii. And I was in despair. I survived, but I've seen so many people died. And I really wanted to save Japan and the world from this disaster of radiation coming to everywhere and polluting our sacred land. You talked about Gaia. That was my goddess. Always I follow my Gaia guiding me to do whatever the work. And I one time, it was my 20s, I pray, Gaia, use me to, to serve you. That was my purpose of life. But with that accident and the earthquake and followed by nuclear power meltdowns in Japan, Fukushima, I was in deep despair and I lost hope completely. In one moment, I wanted, what's the purpose of my life? I lost hope. Why am I living? And I was living because I had my children. I could stay alive, but I've lost hope completely. And it was year 2014, this Rita Marie Johnson called me. She and I were known each other. I'd taken her course of connection practice back in 2007 and 2009. I never become master of that. I never become a teacher of that. But she remembered me. And as she knew I was in Hawaii, she reached me and, Yumi, why don't you become a trainer of connection practice? And I took the course. From there, from despair to little hope started when I started sharing this message of, or this skill of a connection practice to my Japanese friends. First to only my friends, because I wasn't sure what I was teaching. But the moment I started sharing, I saw people are connected to their heart, opening up their deepest desire or what they came here for to this planet. They connected to the heart. And from there, so many people transformed their life. And I didn't know until I started teaching the power of connection practice. When I was practicing myself, okay, this is empathy. I know NBC, nonviolent communication, so I can do empathy. I know some of it, and coherence, and I get some insight. But it was when I started sharing. It changed so many people in front of my eyes, like from my despair to hope. I saw so many people who had broken relationship in the family. They are connecting again. They're having great conversation. They are connecting to their heart, starting the new business that is more meaningful to their lives. And I've seen miracles after miracles after miracles. That's why I'm here today. So I'm sharing this in Japan and United States to anyone who wants to connect to the power of the heart. And this heart is amazing. It teaches us everything if you ask the right question to your heart. So I'm every day, I am leading coherence call. It's one of the technique we teach in the connection practice. And, we like meditation. So heart focus, heart breathing, heart feeling of appreciation. And when you're really deep in your heart, you can ask question and heart will give you answer. We practice that every day at 6 a.m. Japan time.
Okay.
And we have about 80 people right now. And it gives me so much hope because I hear every day from people, this happened, that happened, it's amazing thing happened, and we share every day. So my days nowadays, in spite of all of this happening in the world, filled with hope and built on hope every day. It's small, tiny things, but when we are connected in a group, the power of the heart is ignited and we can dream the biggest dream. And when we dream the biggest dream together, it becomes a reality, manifestation.
Yes.
That's what I'm hoping to do, using my rest of my life to be Gaian. You said Gaians. I want to be always Gaian, working for the Gaia. So that's my hope.
Wow. Thank you. The power of the heart, and it's like love is the connective tissue that needs to be regenerated inside the body of our humanity. Wow. Let's just take a moment just to digest, assimilate, and take in what you've just given us, because it wasn't just an introduction. You took us through your own inner process from despair to hope. And that's the journey that the world is on at the moment. It's now at the despair end of the scale. So Rita Marie, what story lives inside you that you can share about your relationship with hope, fiery hope?
Well, it seems that there is this eternal flame in our hearts, and that sense that somehow, despite all appearances, that everything is working for our good. Somehow everything is evolving, our learning and so on. So that innate sense that things can always get better or are getting better. To me, that's where the words hope springs eternal come from, is literally that flame in the heart that helps us to remember that that's true when it doesn't appear to be true. Mm. So there's that. But then in my own life specifically, I was looking for inspiration, something that would take my hope to another level, you could say. I needed a vision. And I was sitting in my garden in Costa Rica for hours, just listening inside, because the sense I had was I need to see something right now. There is something that I need to understand, that I need to see, like a vision. And then I won't go into the long story. It came through actually a dream, a night dream. This story poem, it's called Razur. This is a story poem that gives you a vision of how we can be. It's an 85-page epic poem that talks about our connection to ourselves, to each other, to all of creation. It's a beautiful imagery. Really, it's the most beautiful poem I've ever read. It's in Spanish, but I've had it translated into English. And it's a story of a teacher who comes to the mountains of Costa Rica and silently calls the children inside one of the mountains. And there he begins to teach them about the treasures in their hearts.
Mm, mm,
And as a result of his teaching, the children teach their parents, and this village in Costa Rica becomes a culture of peace. That's, I mean, it's a long poem. That's the short story. But it inspired me so much. And this poem was written in 1946 by Roberto Brenes Massen, a Costa Rican who was way ahead of his time. He was Minister of Education, he was ambassador to the United States, and he was an incredible mystical poet. So he wrote this poem in 1946, and in 1948, Costa Rica, out of the blue, abolished their army.
mm.
And they remain the only country today that has no army and no defense arrangement with a larger country. And so this poem was prophetic. And when I read it, I felt the truth of that it was prophetic, but that it wasn't just about Costa Rica, that it was really about all of us. Here's a story of, instead of an apocalyptic story, here's a story that spells it out, how we can walk arm in arm and we can sit under a tree and really listen to each other, and how we can be creative and create vegetable gardens that look like works of art. And it just spells it out in the most beautiful imagery. And so that poem has been the inspiration of my work, the connection practice. And it keeps that hope burning strong. I am sort of an eternal optimist. Can't seem to help it. But the poem gave me the vision. But then what keeps my hope alive is bringing that hope down to earth, making it very practical. And so really that's been my my motivation for getting up every morning, is seeing that hope realized. There's an old quote from Francis Bacon. He said, "Hope is a good breakfast, but a bad supper." You know this quote? Yes. And the thing is, the reason for that is in our human dimension, if hopes aren't realized, then we tend to get disillusioned. And so we've got to get that vision, we've got to get that practicality and bring it down to earth, heaven to earth. And when we have that experience over and over and over again, then we live with that fiery hope full on, embodying that fiery hope. So that's my experience.
Thank you. When you were both speaking, particularly just what you were saying, because I'm also a gardener, and Yumi, you're a gardener, so I go back into nature and the teaching that she provides. But I'm thinking that hope is not, well, I hope it happens, which is it may or may not. Hope for me is a guarantee and a promise. But like a seed is a guarantee and a promise, nothing will happen until it's sown and grown. And therefore, we have to create the conditions in which hope can show up. So hope isn't just, I hope it happens, you sit back and don't let anything, just be passive. So, however, I do want to affirm what you've both said, is that hope is, it's not going away. However, it can only really manifest itself, which is the word you use, Yumi, manifest itself when it has a way of coming into form. And so that's why I'm delighted, because not only are you visionaries, but you also are very practical. You have a practice called the connection practice. So before we get into the details and the stories about the work, I'd like to ask you one more question about how you stand, because you mentioned Fukushima and everything that was happening, Yumi. That was like a perfect storm of all these different events. Well, looking around the world now, we've got a perfect storm. We've got climate extremes, we've got political extremes, we've got extremism, and extremism is when you disconnect. So I'm wondering, the work is getting tougher However, the principles are still the same. So, how do you stand now as things get heated up, as we seem to be living in a more polarized world, a more disconnected world? What is your personal practice? You mentioned it, Yumi, like when you get up each day, but is there something that you can share about how you, day by day, stand in that place to do the good work?
Thank you. Yeah, it gets tougher, true, and people are polarized, even about the masks or this pandemic, the shots and everything. Yeah, we can't even talk about it. In a group, we have different opinions about all those things. So when I am, I want to say who I used to be. I do either blame others, something wrong or something I didn't like happens. I blame other people or I blame myself. So this is what I used to be. Either you are wrong or I'm right, or I blame myself. Oh, I'm so stupid and I've done that. Anyway, so I didn't know any other way when we have different opinions about anything. I didn't know how to navigate a conversation. But with the connection practice, I now know whatever people are saying or whatever I am saying, there's a deep need or something like for me, like love is so important, peace is important, trust is important, hope is important, and health and well-being is my core need. I really stand for health and well-being of myself, others, and other creatures, and the planet health is why I stand. So when I'm going to that need level, actually everybody has the same need. We just have different strategies how to get there. So I'm focusing myself to, okay, whatever that person is saying and disagreeing with me or arguing or criticizing me, I'm trying to connect with what they are wanting really deep down. And always listen to my heart and other people's heart. Then I notice nowadays my friends from all walks of life, different opinions, pro something, against something, it doesn't matter. I really have widened my relationship with many other people of different religion, different beliefs, different way of eating, or how to even live your life healthy. Everybody has a different way. And I can embrace them all in a way. It's amazing how I was different before. I had my way, and my way is the right way. And if you don't follow my way, you'll be either punished or you are not in my world. You don't exist. I was pretty much like that. And that was quite um, unhappy place. I was not very happy. I was doing a lot of good work. Yeah, I was activist and I was also, journalist. And I was standing on one side of the polarization. But now I am like listening with open heart and connecting with whoever I'm in conflict with or who's critical of me. I'm opening my heart and really focusing and listening to them deep down in their heart. That without connection practice, I had no way of doing that. I had no way how to do that. But now I'm really doing that with anyone I come across. As a result, I'm a happier person. I'm a more resource person to who come to my way. I can be a good resource for that person. And I so wish it's a simple skill to learn, but it needs practice. I'm really hoping you get to learn this so that we can communicate beyond differences and finding common ground.
Yes.
What we came here for. We are all Gaians after all. We live on this planet together. We're sharing same air, same ocean and water we share. So I really, this is my way of peace activism or environmentalism, whatever you name it, but this is my way. to share the connection practice. Wherever I go, I try to practice. And I'm forever grateful to Rita Marie Johnson in 2014, who invited me to become certified trainer of that.
Right.
Thank you, Rita Marie.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you, Yumi, because it's the daily practice, so it becomes a rhythm. It becomes a rhythm, it becomes the default pattern. So the default pattern is not to blame. The default pattern becomes to inquire, to empathize. And I'd love to hear from Rita Marie.
Sure.
What is it each day you do to stay centered in this very stormy, turbulent time?
Well, first of all, like Yumi, I lead daily coherence with another man, and we do it every morning. And it's a small group in our case. Yumi has 80. We have a smaller group. And so we have such a sense of deep commitment and intimacy in this group that I just love. And so I'm not only doing it for myself, but I do it with the group. And then I have quiet time with my husband. Mm-hmm. So it's layered into my life. And not only doing it in the morning, but then anytime that there's stress during the day, my husband and I literally say every morning, if we become tense or stressed, we just put our hands on our hearts and remember what matters most: our love, our connection. So this is our practice, individually, as a couple, and as a group, and as a community, as Yumi knows. So we literally go to the heart. The other thing that really makes a difference for me is giving it away. As Yumi said, it was when she started teaching it. Just yesterday, I coached a woman, and she comes and she's, spinning in her head, and she's upset with this person, upset with that person, and this and that. And, she's just in turmoil. And so I spent about an hour and 45 minutes with her, and she walked out the door laughing. And, I was like you said, Yumi, when you see that efficient transformation that's authentic, deep transformation, that is what helps me stand in it, Michael. Right. Is it works. It is so grounded and so efficient that we can give it away in a way that we can see immediate results, and that keeps inspiring that hope. So yes. It feeds our hope to be able to give it away and just be filled with awe.
Thank you. And what I appreciate about both of you and what you've said is that you're not telling somebody else what to believe. You're inviting them into a practice to deepen their connection with self and others and the world. And we do something similar at Meditation Mount. We have 3 principles that our work is based on, in addition to creative meditation, which is the power of focus, group thought. Energy follows thought. But these 3 principles are essential divinity. Each one of us contains a spark of the one life inside us. Each of us is sacred. Each of us is a fractal of the one life. We respect life. We respect each other. The second principle is goodwill, which is love is the lifeblood and currency of all relationships. And the third principle is unanimity. We're part of one cohesive, seamless web. So we believe that if we're going to create a more peaceful world, those are the foundations, those are the principles. And it seems as though you've got the manual, part of the manual of how to do that. So I really resonate with where you're coming from, because otherwise it goes back to what you were saying, Yumi. If I tell you what you should do, I can reinforce the polarization. Okay, there you go. So, but because we are founded with a deep spiritual lineage, also inspired at Meditation Mount by Dr. Roberto Assagioli, who is the founder of psychosynthesis. His whole thing is the resolution of the opposites, is finding that point of synthesis. There is always a higher common point. And that, of course, as you both said, is first discovered within the heart. So we've come this far in the conversation. Where is it moving you? What is it that you would love to share, explore, go deeper into now. We can go wherever we wish.
So with this daily coherence, I practice at 6 a.m. Japan time, 11 a.m. Hawaii time, and 1 p.m. your time every day. This is a practice for 2 times a year. We have a big event in Hiroshima. I don't know what provoked about Hiroshima, but a lot of people in the world know about Hiroshima, what happened in the history. And for me, Hiroshima is a hope for humanity after atomic bomb. Hiroshima is now such a beautiful city, and people of Hiroshima dedicated their life for creation of peace. You will see that prayer in everywhere in Hiroshima. You will see the sign of their deep prayer for peace. And they say, we will never let this happen again anywhere on earth, and we stand for peace. And I'm not from Hiroshima, but I go there twice a year and to lead a bigger coherence practice together where Rita Marie would be speaking, and the person who created this machine that measure coherence scientifically. I like United States because you measure things scientifically, which we do in Japan. We practice kind of coherence and the chi energy and all of that tradition, but we don't know how to measure and to prove it as science. But now United States has given me a tool about coherence, and we use this device. I'm now taking my coherence rate. Anyway, and we practice this globally twice a year. This is a big event. And I practice every day towards this December, what do you call it? Solstices and winter
Solstice, yes.
solstices.
Solstice, yes.
Solstice, yeah. So we do this twice a year. And my dream, biggest dream is to have, no, well, not everyone is not possible, but like everyone from each country or everyone from each continent doing this together. There are many massive meditation. I've joined the other meditation group when they do globally. I try to join that. And the unique practice of coherence is it's more kind of, compared to meditation, it's like more active. And you can ask a question like about turmoil. I hate this person. He said that to me. He hurt me. And what do I do about this person? And I can ask question. Hey, what do I need to know about this relationship? I'm not liking that guy, but he's in front of me and yelling at me. What do I do? And heart gives you answer. Every day I practice something like that when I have turmoil in my life, or it could be for other person who has issues, problems, or challenges. Together we can ask question in the heart, and each one can ask the question, and we come up with amazing answers when we are in coherence, when we are in coherent together.
Yes.
The power of group is amazing. I get much better answer than when I'm doing it alone.
Yeah.
So that's my big hope or a dream, and I want this dream to come true one day, so that we know we are one. We are one. You said web of life. We are all connected through this web of life, and we are brothers and sisters, no matter where you are and how we look like, and we'll be working together to work for Gaia, our mother. That's the
Thank
dream
you.
I have.
Oh, thank you. So Rita Marie, what do Yumi's words spark in you?
Well, just like for Yumi, the whole experience of Hiroshima, and seeing that healing process and evolving and bringing it to a whole new level is so significant for her, and I participated it with her in that. And for me, what is my passion is to be able to reach our youth with this heart-brain learning, to be able to integrate it into school so that it is considered as important as reading, writing, and arithmetic. And so I've been working a long time. Part of our history and the connection practice is that I started it in Costa Rica, and I'm a Missouri farm girl. with bad Spanish. And so we started in Costa Rica, and I had such great good fortune there for Missouri Farm Girls. I ended up being supported by the president, and we got it into the public schools, and it was so easy and fabulous and got a wonderful start. But then, I decided that my own country actually needed it more. And so I came back here, and now at this time, we have more troubled youth than ever. We've got kids that are so mixed up and lost and hurting. And, there's all kinds of statistics about this, but I think most of us just know it. Look at the state of our world. It's so confusing for our young people. So what I'm really excited about seeing happen is to bring this kind of learning into schools in a way that is scalable. See, part of the problem is that the heart is very personal.
I
We'll wait.
lost Rita
No,
Marie.
we'll wait for this is a pause. We can pause with her while we find the reconnection, but it was interesting that that's when the transmission ceased for the time being. If I could add while we're waiting for her to come back,
Our connections heart to heart.
Okay. So what will happen is Rita Marie will rejoin us. We are, connection practice.
Of course.
So we're reconnected.
Practicing connection.
You were saying, Rita Marie?
Yes, I was, that I'm so passionate about getting this into schools. Yeah. And right now, this week, I am more excited than ever. And I don't think you know this yet, Yumi, or I guess I talked a little bit about it on Thursday night, but we have the opportunity to bring this into schools in a new way. We already got this practice into a magnetic board that makes it easy for kids to identify their feelings and needs. You see, you've got feeling magnets and you've got needs magnets. Okay, so they can identify their feelings and needs so that they get connected through self-empathy. And then there's empathy for the other person. They put the magnets on here. This is really for people of all ages. Right. But my passion is getting it integrated into schools worldwide. So, and then here is the heart coherence that Yumi's been focusing on that helps us get to our best thinking, to our insights, to the whispers of the heart. So we've had this since 2019, these magnetic boards. And then we developed this digital version, which makes it possible to scale it now. Yes. We can combine the tactile, intimate, sitting next to your buddy in class, with the magnetic board, we can do that, but we can also make it available to kids any time of the day, and they can have it on their laptops and take it home and teach their parents. We've had many examples where the kids brought it to the parents, which is how it happened in the story of Razur. In this wonderful vision, the kids taught the parents. And that is what can happen with the digital version, because the magnetic boards will be left at school. They'll have a certain number of boards, but with the digital version that is identical to the magnetic version, we can make this available to kids at any time. And I would like to screen share that, if I could. Yeah. So it looks like this, and I know there's a lot of little words here, but let's just say that I'm feeling desperate. So if I'm feeling desperate, I just, I got to click it here. I just move the word desperate into the feelings. And if I'm needing some security, here's the needs over here. I can move my feelings and my needs all around my feelings and needs, and then the feelings and needs of anybody I'm in conflict with. And I can make this a little bigger if that helps. So you can see there's all the feelings words, and then, whoa, I made it real small. And here's the needs words. So with this tool, the kids, instead of acting out all of these negative feelings, they can learn how to own them. They can learn how to be connected inside to their feelings and needs. And then the whole practice is, you know, with the heart brain coherence. Are you familiar with heart math, Michael?
Absolutely. I was just going to give you a response that includes that. So why don't you finish what?
Well, heart math, you know, heart math has been a supporter of the connection practice ever since I created it. So I have a wonderful partnership with heart math, and they've allowed me to make quick coherence, their tool, a part of the connection practice. And also the same with Marshall Rosenberg. When he was alive, I met with Marshall, and he allowed me to take the essence of nonviolent communication, which is the feelings and needs, and make it a part of the connection practice. And that's why you see my sign here, empathy, which I learned from Marshall, nonviolent communication, and insight, which I learned from heart math and the coherence between the heart and the brain, that when we have challenges coming our way in life, and we know exactly how to get connected to ourselves, we connect empathically with anybody we're in conflict with, then we move into coherence, heart-brain coherence. We ask ourselves, what do I need to know? We listen inside and we get our best thinking. So that is exactly how we do it. And it's all spelled out, like I said, on the board. And now we have a digital version. But the greatest news that just happened this last week is not only do we have a digital version that our coaches have been able to use online, like to coach people, they can bring up the board and they can use it to coach people. But just this last few days, really since Friday, actually, we found a person who can turn our current digital version that you just saw, turn it into a version that can be used in schools and nonprofits all over the world. We can scale up to millions now.
Good.
And so that is what I'm so excited about, because it's been the challenge of taking something that is all about connecting right here, and how do you scale that to huge numbers of people?
Yes.
And so we can do it now.
Well, thank you. And when you were speaking earlier, I thought of heart math, and my friend Teresa Collins with the Coherence Initiative, and I was thinking of the islands of coherence, because my children are always asking me, particularly my daughter, when are things going to get better? And I keep saying, well, they're still going downhill. We've still got some destructuring to do and deconstructing to do. And I said, what you can do is create in your family a microclimate of goodness, which is equivalent to an island of coherence. Mm-hmm. And then if in the neighborhood there are other people doing that, that's how you reforest a desert. And then you change the climate, you change the psychological climate, and the weather patterns start to change from stormy, cloudy. Then you bring back the natural cycle, and you don't get extreme weather. You get beneficent weather. You get weather that nourishes everything, not destroys everything. And so what you're saying about scalability is that each person, particularly here at Meditation Mount, we know the practice of daily practice is so important. Mm-hmm. That if each of us each day can learn to stand in a place of non-judgment, empathy, compassion, and yes, from there move out and into the world, things can change very, very rapidly. And so I'm delighted that you were able to share the news, that because I know with my grandson, who's been doing online learning, it's been tough. And now they're doing, well, here's perfect. The teacher could use 20 minutes online learning, do this. I'm just thinking, so these things then go viral. If there's a need and you have a resource, they have a way of finding themselves when they're offered, when they're given purely, as you're saying, you give it to the world because it's a need. So you are responding to a world need. So exactly, you're being empathic at the global level.
Yes, absolutely, Michael. And another reason that I'm so hopeful now, so excited about progress is that a couple of Saturdays ago, we had an event here for Champions of Youth. And so we showed them the digital version. This was before I knew I could actually have a version that works in schools, but I just showed them what we had, and they said, oh gosh, give us that, you know. So they're all like gung-ho, let's do this. And this is in the Bay Area, which you know is a place where things can spread like wildfire, that people are going to be open. If they see something that's working, that's going to work better, they're going to go for it. And so so that happened 2 Saturdays ago. And then just this week on Thursday morning, I got a principal of a school that is less than a mile away from me to commit to a pilot project that will include the magnetic boards and the digital boards. And so we've got not only a way to scale it, but we've got the proving ground of that it is scalable. So yeah, I am just more encouraged right now with those breakthroughs than I have been, because I was looking for the way.
Right, but I'm thinking, Rita, it's not just how many people, because we know that what you do in one microcosm affects the whole field.
Exactly.
We understand that. So it's the homeopathic doses of empathy and insight are being injected into the lifeblood of our common humanity. So Yumi, you put your hand up. Was that waving, or do you want to add a comment?
No, I just want to say, sending heart to what Rita Marie was sharing and what you were sharing, Michael. No, I don't have any comment.
Okay.
But I'm loving this is going finally, because our focus was for children, and finally it's happening. It took Rita Marie and I also joined many years of hard work, so to speak. It wasn't easy, but finally came to where we are going to teach this to children who need the most.
Yes, and actually what it really was making it simpler and simpler and simpler. You know, I have a little thing on my bulletin board here. Let me pull it off. I have kept this little thing since I was in college, and you can see how old it looks. It's all kind of brown. If only I may grow quieter, firmer, warmer, simpler. And that's really what we had to evolve into with the connection practice, is get it to a point where it's not rocket science.
No.
It is just learning how to go inside and access those beautiful strengths and be able to live from those. And, you know, recently we went to 2 different community events, and we had these magnetic boards standing up on easels, and people would walk up and we'd say, is there anything that is troubling you that's causing negative feelings? And almost every one of them, well, all but one actually said, yes, actually, I'm having trouble, you know, teaching my son to read. He's struggling and I get so impatient, and, you know, I just struggling with him. And so on the spot, we helped 46 people move from being troubled and having negative feelings, having an issue that was really bothering them. On the spot, helped to move into a place of interconnection, connection with, like in this case, the one I was talking about, the mother struggling with the son, and she got her heart opened to her son, put herself in his shoes, and then got coherent and got an insight, and boom, she's ready to walk away, you know, a better parent.
Well, it's also, what it's really doing is liberating ourselves from these conditions and these patterns, liberating ourselves from the prison of the past, so we can be present, because I can only connect when I'm present.
So true, Michael.
When we're present.
Exactly.
And I think being present means I'm not looking at the past because the pain is pulling me in there. And so I really celebrate what you're doing, and the fact that it just takes a small percentage of people to make this shift. And the reason we're doing it with the young people, of course, is because before they get deeply imprinted, so they don't have to do as much work. Because growing up in England and many years ago, there was a lot of conditioning, which there's a little bit left, but most of it I've managed to lift into the light of a new day. And yet I find myself going back and thinking things or being judgmental. And I realized, no, that's not me, but that's how I heard the story from those around me when I grew up. That's the answer to that question. It was in the ethers. Now, the answer to the question is in the heart. And
yes.
we've got about another 5 minutes together, and we could have another 5 hours. So if we could just take a deep breath together and say, what else is there that each of us wants to share? Not just so that we are complete, but that this conversation then is a completion so that we can offer it as a gift.
So I want to say, when you are connected to the heart, you are sending vibration of love, gratitude, hope, everything we want to the field. We are really contributing to Gaia. Just one heart at that time. When you're fully connected, you are doing it. So I'd like to journey with all of you, whoever is listening and watching with us, so that we can be all Gaians. You said Gaians. Yeah, Gaians. That's a new word for me, by the way. Michael, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, and so when I say to people, hey guys, it isn't G-U-Y-S, I'm not being sexist, it's G-A-I-A-S.
Yes.
Guys, that's the sort of the informal fellow Gaians. So
Gaians.
Rita Marie, what's on your heart that would be completion for you?
Well, as we've mentioned, our world is polarized, and that is about either or thinking. And the wonderful thing about the heart is it takes us into the both and. It takes us into that place, like you said, that third answer that's beyond the either or. And so I'm I'm really so acutely aware of that right now, because in my own life, I thought I had to choose between living here in Gilroy and continuing this work that is catching on. And I had to choose between that and being in Costa Rica, where we still have our headquarters, where we started. We have a property there that's an event center. And so my mind was either or. I have to live here or sell this, or have to go there. Anyway, through the power of my heart, I saw that my own life needed to be a both and, that I can continue going strong right here in the Bay Area. And we're going to start doing the retreats and tours and actually build a connection practice community, a full-on community there in Costa Rica, that I can embrace it all. And so I see it in my own life, how my heart led me to a both and solution. And that is what we need in our world, to overcome these polarities and find our way, each one of us, to that both and.
Wow. As you were speaking, I had this image of if you just choose one place to make your headquarter, because the headquarter needs one place only, it has to be one place, but the heart quarter of an organization is everywhere.
Yes. Oh, I love it.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm taking away the gift, because you have both reaffirmed the power of the heart. And Yumi, you started out with that phrase, the power of the heart. And we know that the heart is able to register, able to give us wisdom, and then it's able to radiate. It's able to bless. And what we always do at the end of our time together is what we have generated and received today and filled our chalice, we offer it out into the world. And so I invite the three of us and all those watching now or watching the recording later, just to take a moment and to see the chalice of the heart filled with gifts that will nourish our world. And then see ourselves pouring the gifts from this chalice. And this golden liquid flows out into the world and touches the heart of every brother and sister, every creature, connecting us at the deepest level. Because healing only takes place when we stand connected, connected inside to our own deep self, and connected heart to heart to heart with each other, with all the realms of life, both visible and invisible, and with the heart of Gaia. So let us simply breathe out and send our blessings into the world. And then just be grateful to each other. And for this time, it's been so enriching to have the two of you, because we're not just talking about something, we're actually sharing stories of what you are doing, what is happening. This is not talking about, this is sharing what is.
Yes.
So final few words, if anything, that you need to say by way of closure.
Well, I just saw that Dot put a note in the chat, and I just wanted to acknowledge Dot and my gratitude for connecting us, Yumi and I, with Michael. I'm so grateful for Dot's work over the years and how she's connected me and helped the connection practice at times, traveled with Dot for a bit there at one point. And so just really appreciate the network, Michael. I appreciate all of the like-minded people that really keep us going. You know, when one of us gets discouraged, then somebody else is going to be there to give empathy. You know, like you said, not tell you what to do, not advice and all of the shoulds, but instead a network of people who know how to be with you, so that your natural innate hope comes flaming back.
Wow.
So appreciate that for that.
That's wonderful. Yumi, anything final besides?
I was just putting the link to my Zoom call every day. Anybody who are inspired to come, it's a free call. You practice coherence together starting tomorrow. And it's every day without a fail. No matter where I am on the planet, wherever I am, I show up at this time to this Zoom, and I'm committed for life.
Thank you. And your web site, Connection Practice, is
.org.
Yes, .org. We have that on the screen, and I guess it's difficult to say, well, thank you for today, goodbye. It's like to be continued, because we're in this together, hearts across distance. So thank you, Yumi. Thank you, Rita Marie.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you for watching. Thank you, Dot.
Yes, appreciate being heard.
Yes.
So blessings from Meditation Mount, and we will see you next month.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Someday in person, Michael.
Yes.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you. Mahalo.